What was that? You can't get me to leave? Since when did you ask me to leave?
I said get help.
Get help for what?
Your mental illness.
What mental illness? What mental illness? Which one? What's it called?
Why are you laying on
What's
the
it
couch
called?
and can't
What does that have to do with mental illness?
Because you can't take care of yourself.
What high school education did you get information about
Your
mental illness?
insults don't. Your
No,
insults
you're
don't-
the one that's insulting with naming medication that this officer has no details about. You're referring to, that's criminal defamation. And then you're talking about mental illness, just throwing it out there while you call the Ontario Police Department who are inside of her apartment complex. She has a record
She was
for
locked
what?
up
For what?
Like 8 months, I believe, before they released her. But
She's
they
referring
forced
to the
medication
entity
out.
that engaged in kidnapping. Jason Knighton, Jonathan Burnett, the same department that pulled out his cell phone, playing back the conversation inside of this department. She's referencing Jonathan Burnett, who's engaging in what is kidnapping, and that's what she's referring to right now when she's saying I have a record. This is criminal defamation as well.
When she got out, she was raped.
And now she's saying I was raped. I was never raped, and they're sitting here like I'm not here, like I'm not speaking for myself. I'm a full-grown adult woman. This is not how you engage in an eviction. Engaging in what is fraternizing. You're sitting here talking. Excuse me, officer, what's your name?
I'm having a conversation with
Yeah,
her.
you're talking about me like I'm not an adult. Why are you hostile? Are you upset about something? Are you here to help or are you here to harass? Are you here to harass or?
But they have more resources to deal with actual.
Okay, let me get, this is B
fit our
Hook
criteria.
number 80551. This is P.O.C.
As far as the law enforcement thing.
And this is, I want to be clear, she did the same thing with Officer Cho and Officer Kessel with Eric Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks on August 6, 2020, engaged in kidnapping, and doing so while they're engaging in what is criminal defamation upon criminal summoning. She's putting out, oh, you're mentally ill, putting out that you have medication, calling out, oh, you don't have any more explanation about the medication that Tracy Banks told you I'm on? No more information about that? That's P.O.C. And this is the entity that does so pursuant to what is an effort to try to criminally defame based on the evidence that's published on the video of the internet. Okay? You're not, no, it's not. No, it's not. How often are you called here? How often have you been called here?
This is the first time.
Okay, so why is she saying it's a daily thing?
So you're saying I'm in your face and harassing?
You are in my face. You represent law enforcement. No. You represent law enforcement. You're in my face talking about medication that I don't take. You were standing right in my presence. She's sitting here lying about a criminal record that doesn't exist. She's sitting here defaming me with two people that represent law enforcement about things that have not happened. Under no circumstances, there has not been any interaction. She walked into the apartment and she immediately says that the police are coming after nothing happened, nothing precipitated it. And this is the same Ontario police that you see flying over me in helicopters right at this apartment. They're here engaging in criminal summoning. Via badge number 80551. This is federal prison. They're both going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. And this is why the entity is being published on Twitter, on X, being published on not Facebook, but YouTube, and now being published on TikTok as well. This is the entity responding with criminal summoning. Tracy, license 9HUZ740. The demons in units 33 through 64, monitoring with her, engaging in federal stalking altogether, and engaging what is criminal summoning. That's what this is. They're fully engaged in what is a conversation, and they're engaged in monitoring at the same time. So Tracy Banks engaging in what is referring, what he stated in the podcast, which you'll hear, talking about medication. This is a means to try to render illegitimate the documentation about federal stalking that the Ontario Police Department is engaging in. All right, they engaged in the June 16, 2022 kidnapping. They engaged in what is the kidnapping on January 3rd, 2020. They engaged in the kidnapping and criminal defamation as a department that I'm documenting on the P.O.C. website, and the entity is seeking to engage in what is a means of harassment. What's your badge number, ma'am? Ma'am? You're here to monitor, but you don't want to speak to me? You got out of vehicle 1118, right? License 1697625. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is the entity, this is the response pushing the documentation. This is the entity that's repeatedly engaged in kidnapping and doing so via state actors like Thomas Garza. That's a judge, the entity engaging in surveillance and obstruction of justice, Thomas Garza. The entity that's engaging in what is the pattern of conduct And I want to be clear, not talking to me. I'm over 18, engaging criminally defaming me in my presence, like I'm not competent, like I cannot communicate myself, and you hear me clearly articulating, ignoring. And when they're asked questions, they don't want to give a logical answer. Is that legal advice? Because it's not proper. That's not proper legal advice, and this is not how you engage in what is some sort of hijacking means to try to kidnap like Officer Cho did? You call the Ontario Fire Department and AMR?
Right, thank you guys.
This, all she did was call the police, and I want to be clear, calling the police is in air quotes. She comes home, walks in, and calls the entity immediately. And upon engaging what is criminal defamation with the Ontario Police Department, and all three of them are going to federal prison, and this is pursuant to criminal defamation.
Go back in.
Now you want me to go back in? Hold on, I'm documenting. This is P.O.C. This is criminal defamation with the same entity.
back in.
That's P.O.C. vehicle number 1105 and vehicle 1118.
Go back in.
And this is the entity that's engaging the P.O.C. when you're
back
publishing the
in.
documentation on the venue of the internet, criminally defaming
Go
as
back
an entity
in. Go
together.
on. Go
Stop
back
touching
in.
me. That's a
Go back
battery.
in.
Stop touching me.
Go back in.
That's a battery.
Go back
She's
in.
breaking the law right
Go
here,
back in the
officers.
house. Go
Why
back
don't you
in the
call
house.
her? Why don't you come take her away?
back
She's
in
putting her hands on me, and that's a battery.
Go back in
That's
the
a
house.
battery.
Go back in.
Why don't you check her mental illness
Go back in.
while you're here criminally defaming me?
Go back in
Because
the house.
I'm going to disband the Ontario Police Department. That's what's happening. You're not intimidating me at all. You know that you're published on the venue of the internet, and you are going to be disbanded for this here, right here. This is exactly why. You have no authority under the law. Tracy Banks is getting locked up as well. Trying to defame me does not render the evidence against you illegitimate. You're stalkers as a whole department. She just put her hands on me. She put her hands on me. And you're the one defaming me. Why are you even here? You're here pursuant to criminal summoning. That's the pattern of conduct. You're criminals, and it's going all over the internet, and this is not going to stop that. That's P.O.C. You are the mentally ill psychopaths that you're looking like. Somebody that's abiding by the law and enforcing my rights. Enforcing my rights. That's P.O.C. No, I don't think so. You put your hands on me. That's not a nervous breakdown. That's somebody that's engaging in a battery, violating my rights. You're all violating my rights. All of you. Nobody pays attention when she put her hands on me, but if I touched her, you would have already tried to pull me out of this apartment. You're all engaging in that pattern of conduct together. Huddled around in a circle doesn't make you look any less guilty. It is the pattern of conduct that you're going to prison. You're going to prison. That's P.O.C. It's currently 7:43 p.m. Look at the United States government's P.O.C. This is what they engage in when you document. This is what they engage in. This is a show of aggression. This is a show of force. While they're engaging in that pattern of conduct that's published on X, it's published on YouTube, and it's published on what is Spotify, on podcast. This is the same one you see gang stalking with the Ontario Police by helicopter on an ongoing basis. License 98UZ740 at Aveneth Capital Management, Alvarado, Woodside Senior Apartments. This is P.O.C. This is what LAPD is doing in Los Angeles in the same exact specific environment, engaging in a criminal act while the entity is ignoring me, and they're here monitoring me with Tracy Banks. With Tracy Banks. Do not forget that the Ontario Police Department is engaged in gang stalking by helicopter and as a whole entire. Mike Lorenz is going to be removed from position. This is P.O.C. This is Mike Lorenz's criminal conduct. This is an unlawful threat. He's going to federal prison. That's what you're getting. Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison. That's a battery putting your hand on me. That's P.O.C. being documented, and it's going on the internet. Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison. Mike Lorenz is going to federal prison. No, you're not going to intimidate and threaten me and call the police because I'm documenting you. You're getting locked up, and so is Mike Lorenz. Threatening me while I'm documenting you. Talking about the P.O.C. Don't nobody know about the P.O.C. if you're not gang stalking, you demon. All of you. That's P.O.C. It is currently 7:44 p.m. This is the entity that resorts to such tactics, now wants to usher me and keep me in the house when she was trying to engage and threatening me through the police who are stalking in the path with light, monitoring right now in the specific environment where the fake sun rises and sets. Those are the demons of the Ontario Police Department, and Tracy committing a battery in their presence, and they are disregarding it. They have no authority to come and take me out of this apartment. Tracy Banks engaged in kidnapping via the Ontario Police on August 6, 2019 with Tommy Allen Banks and Eric Corey Spencer at the same venue interview with Officer Cho and Officer Kessel under the fake sun. They are aware of what was published on the internet today. Those officers are going to federal prison, and Mike Lorenz is going to be federally prosecuted. That's the pattern of conduct. The entity engages in what is a threat to kidnap. That's what this is that's what this is about. And these minions in these apartment buildings, who you see stalking under the fake sun, they're going to federal prison as well. They share in the elements of monitoring, and then while they're committing a kidnapping, they do it through the corrupt police departments. And that was supposed to be something that's supposed to intimidate, that's supposed to incite fear, that's supposed to cause you to be falsely depicted as mentally ill. The evidence speaks for itself. The arrival of the police, just like on May 16, 2025, where the fake sun is right here, the same day that I'm exposing corrupt law enforcement agencies, they demonstrate their demon possession and their corruption as an agency, just like right now, by gang stalking by helicopter. That's the pattern of conduct. Tracy Banks is a state actor. She's a third party, and she's an unintelligent one. You will hear on the podcast when she's referring to medication that I don't take, when she is, and you have this demon, this puppet that's wearing a license, talking about things that do not apply. That's a desperate act trying to defame. They're doing this after years of consistent evidence. That's the desperation of the entity that's being documented. This is Jason Field's criminal conduct. The entity is hostile while my evidence is on more than one platform. There is no investigation when the entity is engaging in what is threatening to kidnap you. The federal government is not engaged in investigating anything. The Ontario Police Department is going to be disbanded. That's exactly why. Mike Lorenz specifically, that's a federal prosecution. It is currently 7:46. I just want to be clear. It's going from what is a disbanding, it's going to federal prison for the gang stalking police officers, to what is an individualized specific prosecution of the domestic terrorist, the chief of police, Mike Lorenz himself, while those demons representing that corrupt department engaging in state surveillance, and I publish it on the internet, and the demons that are on more than one platform now. I'm on TikTok, I'm on X now, as of yesterday, May 28, 2025, and Tracy Banks enters the apartment. I'm on Amazon shopping, and this demon creates an episode out of nothing. Out of nothing, and the police arrive immediately after she arrives. This is based on the documentation and an effort to try to, it does not work. It does not work. It does not make the documentation illegitimate. It will never supersede the evidence of the P.O.C. Ever. You are always going to look at the specific environment. You're always going to look at the entity that's engaging in kidnapping, manufacturing charges, making up information. You can't even ask them, where did you get this information about medication? Where did you get this information about what is a criminal record? She's talking about a kidnapping by Jonathan Burnett, who's going to federal prison, who pulled out his cell phone pursuant to surveillance at the Ontario police, who just arrived here pursuant to criminal summoning. Jonathan Burnett pulled out his cell phone and replayed a conversation inside of this apartment. That's who she's talking about, a criminal record. And that's supposed to, again, render illegitimate while she's standing in their presence gang stalking. This is the P.O.C. It's currently 7:48 p.m. This is the entity engaging in criminal summoning. That's P.O.C. That's the P.O.C. I want to be clear, gang stalking and targeting with the Ontario police because you're published on the internet as a sex offender and as a stalker. All right? This is the entity that's targeting with the Ontario Police Department and doing so with impunity. Don't touch my property, because if I throw yours, you're going to call the police. If I do, you're going to call the police because you're the one that's scared. The entity's engaging in this because she's published as a sex offender and as a gang stalker and calling the police because she is published on the internet as a demon and as a gang stalker. That's what this is about. Calling the police does not intimidate. Calling the police does not render illegitimate the evidence, and she is going to a mental asylum. She does this every week, referring to the Ontario police when she's gang stalking me inside of this apartment. She does the exact same thing. April 17th, April 14th, when I'm in here minding my business, and she's gang stalking. She's a hostile demon, doing the exact same thing, calling the Ontario Police Department here, and while they're engaging in it with her. This is P.O.C. And I want to be clear, everywhere that I go, she is still gang stalking. This is a psychopath. That's a demon targeting as an entity, and she's still gang stalking even when I leave the apartment. This is what's going on in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens. This is what's going on in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is what's going on when I'm in Hesperia at the Holiday Inn. This is what's going on when I'm in what is Victorville at the Holiday Inn, when I'm in Monrovia at the Courtyard by Marriott. The entity is engaging in that P.O.C. and she's still acting as one entity. This is a psychopath who's hostile because she's being documented. That's P.O.C. The people in the state are always on her communication device while she's engaging in that pattern of conduct together. All right, this is P.O.C. It's currently 7:49 p.m. This is the entity that's engaging in what is the desperate acts of criminal acts of obstruction of justice while you are published and exposed as a demon and as a gang stalker, targeting your own daughter, which is why you're going to a mental asylum. That's exactly why. Okay, the evidence is on X today, the evidence is on YouTube, and the demons engaged in what is a frenzy, engaged in an act of obsession, engaged in an act of desperation with regard to trying to threaten and intimidate. So this is the entity that's engaging in that POC because of hostility toward being documented. This is POC. It's currently 7:50 p.m.
Let's go. Come on.
And this is after calling the police. The police are not going to come and yank you out of the apartment. That's not how you engage in what is an eviction. Neither is this. But this is the entity that's gang stalking. And it's because of the evidence that's online. While she's referring to Linda Reyes is going to federal prison. Linda Reyes is under the fake son gang stalking with the Ontario police. Look at May 8, 2025 under the fake son that's over at 8:49 a.m. and it's still here like I documented in the afternoon at 3:39 p.m. where the same people of the state, including Linda Reyes that she's referring to, are under that fake son engaging in monitoring. And pursuant to that criminal monitoring that's online as well, and I published it onto 2 other platforms, this is where the Ontario police, who are heavily documented gang stalking, arrive pursuant to criminal summoning. And none of that renders the evidence illegitimate. You will never forget the record. This is the entity that engages in these tactics when you expose them. And these are the maniacal, psychopathic sex offenders who are gang stalking in California. This is P.O.C. License 9HUZ740. Federal stalking the people of the state on her communication device. And don't forget what the entity is doing on an ongoing basis. Every time she's pacing, she's always got a demon on the phone, on her ear, helping her, engaging in what is her act of cowardice, a scared demon, in other words. Always has to have somebody helping her. This is POC. It's 7:51 p.m.